Well, that was some fight, huh?
Yeah, you could say so. It
Uh,
was yeah, it was quite an event.
Yeah, it was crazy. So training camp went well? Anything irregular
Yeah,
or
no,
anything?
everything was good. He no injuries. Like it's funny. I did an interview right before the fight, and somebody said, "Well, how did his knee hold up?" And I had actually, until they mentioned it, I had completely forgotten about his knee. Like it was never an issue. So that was a good thing. We didn't have many glitches in camp.
Yeah, I mean, don't torn meniscuses generally heal up like 4 to 6 weeks or 8 weeks maybe tops?
I don't know much about it. I know this. When I first heard it, I thought it sounded really bad. Like a meniscus sounds really bad, you know? I'm thinking like ACL type of thing. But then I knew a guy, there was a fighter, I forget who it was, but there was a fighter who had it. And he goes, "Oh man, yeah, it wasn't that bad. Like I healed up in a month and a half or, whatever." So that made me feel better and it was all right.
Yeah, yeah. I my father had one years ago, and I've known people about one of my yeah, they heal up quick. So, and Arthur hadn't fought in how long?
I think it was what was it? I think it was January, last January.
Okay, so it's a while. Yeah, it's a while.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so at the end of the fight, well, first off, during the fight, somebody, and I didn't hear this, but somebody had mentioned, or people have said that they heard somebody, I don't know if it was you or somebody else, tell him, you got to knock this guy out. Is that true?
I didn't hear it. I think it was Mark. I think they said it was Mark. But I mean, people have to understand, like when you go into the 11th and 12th round of a good fight, right? You're always basically going to tell the guy that something, either that or something similar, because you can never go into a, like to a decision of a close fight and expect to not have something, weird happen. Like you think it's 8-4 and the judge has it 11-1. You know what I mean? So, the scoring is almost never what you think it is. So
Mm,
I always tell my guys, like, if we're going to the 11th round, I say, man, listen, I don't know what the score is. Like, you gotta really make sure, whether that means win by knockout or just win these 2 rounds big. But so I don't think, because somebody else had mentioned that to me, and I wouldn't take it like it's a big deal. Like we, like they wanted to say like we thought we were losing, but I would think, they would have told him something similar. Like you got to finish strong. Like we got to show the judges, if it's really close, if it's a 1 round fight, 2 round fight, they need to see something dramatic and big from you in these closing moments.
yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah. How? Okay, so I'm gonna go back and forth. How did you feel when the bell rang? Did you feel like we got this in the bag, or he might get robbed, or it was close? What'd you feel like?
Close. Like I never score a fight. I've never scored a fight in my life. I couldn't tell you what I have it. I just watch a fight and I go, we got it. We're losing, whatever I think, you know. Uh, when the bell rang to end it, I thought, I don't know, like I think we got it, but I don't know, I can't bank on it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't bet my life on it. It
Okay.
was a close fight, and it was a type of fight. I kind of similar to Sugar Ray and Hagler in that
Hmm.
you could see both sides. Because
I
there's
s-
some people to this day that think Ray won every round, and there's people that think Hagler bullied him and Ray just wasted punches at the end of the round. So it's
that's
been 35 years and they still are arguing over it.
that's so funny you say that. I was calling it live, and I've said that numerous times. This was Hagler Leonard,
Right,
except I gotta say, and I don't know if it's because I know you and I was going for Beterbiev. I'm trying not to be biased here, but
right,
I feel like Arthur was a little more convincing because Hagler, Ray at no point, Hagler, excuse me, at no point had Ray retreating the way Bivol was retreating, where it
right,
looked like two more shots and he might go down.
right. I twice in the fight, 2 times, and I forget. I think the 12th round was one of them, and I think the other one was the seventh or the eighth or the ninth. There was moments when I thought, we got him, Arthur's got him. You
It
know,
looked
like
like it.
he's all he has to do is step up. So you saw it too. Okay, that's good.
Oh
I
yeah.
thought, if he steps on the gas, he's going to get him. And the crowd, you kind of feed off the crowd. Like sometimes you'll be at a fight and somebody gets hit with a shot, and all of a sudden the noise level goes from the bottom to the top, like rapidly. And the crowd, like you can sense from the crowd, like they see it too. Like he's hurt,
Mm-hmm.
And so there was definitely, I can't remember exactly when, but there was two moments when I thought Bivol might be ready to get caught.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Did you see the short I did? Probably not, but about the
I don't
fight?
think so. No, I
Okay.
don't think so.
So the reason I'm saying that is because I'm gonna repeat what I basically said. So I saw that maybe I could pull it up. I saw in the seventh round is
Okay.
when everything changed, in my opinion. Where is this fucking thing? Here it is. Okay. So I'm gonna play right now on the screen real quick. It's only about a minute long. And you tell me what you think here. Where is this fucking thing? Okay, hold on. All right, here we go.
Beterbiev claims the undisputed crown. In the opening rounds, Bivol maintained his range and kept Artur at bay by pumping out jabs and combinations with more variety than Timu. Artur kept barreling forward like a Soviet tank, and by the middle rounds began closing the distance and landing thudding cinder blocks. In round 7, Bivol lands a crisp combination that rocks Artur, giving him more courage than the Tin Man. So Dmitry hops off his tricycle, plants his feet, and attempts to finish the job. Dmitry's stationary attack enables Artur to lock in and fire at the target, and he blasts Dmitry with a left-hand counter. Bivol then immediately hails an Uber and starts circling the ring. This begins a momentum shift that sees Artur ferociously walk Bivol down like a hungry bear fresh out of hibernation. In the later rounds, Dmitry's tank is almost on E as he continues moonwalking like MJ away, but Bivol shows more heart than February 14th as he sporadically swings for the fences. Beterbiev, however, maintains the pressure like a vice grip and repeatedly lands sledgehammers that blast through Dmitry's high guard. Final punch stat numbers show that both men landed almost exactly the same amount of shots. However, many onlookers believe Beterbiev edged a close decision as he landed the more damaging shots and had Bivol running like Carl Lewis. Post-fight images also favor Artur as his face.
All right, so that's that.
Right.
So, so the reason I showed that was I thought that in the seventh round, when Dmitry had hit Artur, and Artur kind of, I don't say he was hurt, but he took like a step back because Artur doesn't seem like he gets hurt, but he could get knocked off balance for a second. There's a difference between being dazed and just having a punch kind of knock you back for a second.
Right.
And then Bivol seemed to, at that point, be like, oh, I'm going to finish him. And then he got hit with some shit that had him just retreat. And I felt like the retreat at that point never stopped. Bivol did have some random moments of showing a lot of heart. I'll give him that. He would jump in and start swinging, but overall, that's kind of how I saw it. I mean, do you remember that moment when he hit him and he kind of was like, oh, shit?
I remember, I don't know if it's exactly, but the moment, the vibe, you know what I mean? Like it changed. And, that was when like I said, I thought Artur had him. Like my vibe, my sense was, man, we're going to get him. Like this is, actually, I think I stood up when that moment hit. I actually stood up in my chair, thinking that the fight might be about to end. And I thought it was going to be really dramatic and, but he escaped and, he boxed, but I think at times he ran a bit, you know what I mean?
He to me looked like at times, not the whole fight, he was
Yeah.
clearly retreating, not punching, high guard, and literally looked like one or two more shots and he might have to take a knee, and he knew it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And I felt that at least on two occasions where I thought we had him, and but he was mobile and he got out of there. And and I'm assuming that's some people, they judge fights, and if a guy is clearly on the move, like he's clearly not trying to really engage, and sometimes he's fighting, but he's fighting back. Like he's fighting because he has to, not because he even wants to, but he's just punching back.
Right.
Not necessarily by design.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that counts for something as well. Like I say, when it was over, just everything I know about boxing and everything I know about judging and everything, I was like, I'm not sure. I think we got it, but I'm not sure.
Right.
I didn't go up there with supreme confidence, but but we got it for sure.
So, I mean, that's good that you're being honest. A lot of
Yeah.
trainers of the guy would be like, nah, I also thought it was very close, and I wouldn't have been crazy disappointed. I wouldn't have been outraged if Bivol got it, but I thought that being that they landed, as I said in the short, the same amount of punches, almost identically, the one who landed the harder, more damaging shots, and the one who optically had the other guy retreating. Like the other guy seemed to be in danger a few times, whereas your guy never seemed in actual danger. He got clipped clean a couple times, which we never really see, but he didn't seem in danger.
No. And, I guess in a moment like that, you'd have to say, what if they kept going? If they kept going 20 rounds, if they kept fighting, who was
Oh,
going to win?
yeah.
Well,
I mean,
obviously
yeah.
Arthur's going to drown this man.
Mm-hmm.
That was very clear to me. So, obviously it doesn't mean anything, but it does. You know what I mean? Like it's an indicator, but the fights are only 12 rounds, so we got to get it done. But one guy, you kind of feel like he's running, hanging on to the finish line, where the other guy hopes it keeps going, hopes we could just stay here all night until somebody dies, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that's it. Yeah.
There was a clip recently of Bivol after the fight saying they asked him, about Arthur's power. I don't
Yeah.
know if you saw this.
That was foolish.
And he said that he believes Canelo might throw one punch might be harder. No, he said I think Canelo does hit harder when he loads up one shot than Arthur. I mean, what do you think about that?
I mean, he was walking Canelo down. He was coming to Canelo a lot, and he was running, essentially from Arthur. So you don't run from the lesser puncher. You know what I mean? You don't walk into the harder puncher. And if you're moving away, obviously you're not trying to feel the power. So you're not going to feel the power because you're moving away. So,
Good point.
fight Arthur like you did Canelo and then tell me who hits harder. And I already know. Like there's no
Yeah,
chance on this earth that Canelo hits harder than Arthur. Forget
that's
about
what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, I
it.
always tell people, I interview a lot of fighters, and a lot of times the fighters tend to say that the person they beat hits harder than the person who beat them. I hear that all the time.
Yeah, yeah,
Even
yeah.
if a guy gets stopped by somebody, he'll say that the person who stopped him doesn't hit as hard as somebody
Do
else
do
who
you
they beat.
know? Do you know how many guys I've seen? And it's comical to me. Like Roy Jones will obliterate people, but when they ask that guy who hit the hardest, they don't say Roy Jones. I'm going,
Yeah,
I'm going, listen, you know why he doesn't hit the hardest? Because you didn't even feel the punch because he was that destructive. It would be like, having a bomb detonate under your feet and go, I didn't even feel it. Yeah,
yeah,
that's because you're in 5,000 pieces right now. Like
yeah.
you're dead. You know what I mean? So yeah, like I sparred Roy plenty of times to know that he hit everybody harder than they've ever been hit. You know.
So you just hit me with a beautiful bounce pass. What if Roy in his prime would have fought Arthur, being that you've been in the ring with Roy, and I mean you've never fought Arthur, but you've felt his
Right.
punches. What would happen
Yeah.
in
Hey,
in
let
their
me tell you a
prime?
quick funny thing. Let me tell you a funny thing. He actually hit me when we were first in camp in Saudi. He caught me with a right hand on the mitts. He missed the mitt and he caught me instead. So I actually have been hit by him.
What happened? Did you go down? No.
uh, no, he caught me and I was shocked. I was shocked more than anything. I actually had like a red mark here because I didn't block it at all. I had no clue it was coming. And he caught me and it was funny. He's a nice guy, and after he's like, John, I didn't do that on purpose. And I go, no, I know. He's nice. I know. But I would imagine he caught himself and pulled the punch at the last second.
Right.
Because here's the thing, especially at my age, if he catches me flush and I'm not expecting it, it's going to cause a lot of damage. So I think he must have taken something off it. But it was like okay, that was different. I didn't expect that. But someone asked me the other day, and realistically, they're at 175, strictly at 175. They're a problem for each other because Arthur's a better boxer than he gets credit for. He's going to be relentless, and his power is, Roy probably, didn't fight anybody at light heavy who could punch like that. But, Roy Jones is a master defensive,
Mhm.
and when I think of a fight like this, I'll tell you a quick story, right?
Yeah.
And this tells you who Roy Jones is, and it was one of the smartest things I ever heard. In 1990, must have been 93, Terry Norris got knocked out by Simon Brown, right? He got crushed. And at that time, Terry was a beast. He was killing everybody, and he got in love with his power, and Simon matched him and crushed him. So they fight again. I believe it was April or May of 94. Must have been 94. So Terry puts on just an unbelievable boxing display. Like he wins. I think he won every round with Simon. Like he boxed. It was one of the greatest performances ever. And people never talk about that fight. And it was one of the greatest. Everybody should go home and go to YouTube and watch the rematch between Terry Norris and Simon Brown. So he wins the fight. The next day, I'm heading to training camp with Roy Jones. It was in Great Gorge, New Jersey.
Okay.
So I drive over. I get there and I go, oh, man, Roy, see the fight last night. It was crazy, man. It was crazy. And I never forget what he said. He said, with that Southern accent, he said, shoot. He said, I wouldn't have had to fight Simon Brown twice to know that was how to beat him. And I said, man, that's it in a nutshell. Like he wouldn't have traded with Artur at all. Like he would have,
You're right.
he would have not ran for his life, but he would have
Kind of
boxed.
what he did to James
For
Toney.
his life.
Kind of what he did to James Toney, maybe.
Say again? Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
He would have boxed for his life. And he wasn't trying to prove anything. And he wasn't trying to be, super impressive to the casual fans.
And he would overwhelm Arthur, I feel like. It'd be too much.
He'd be so fast. And but I think he'd be ultra careful. Like he would be the type where other people might hit the gas thinking they're going to have a knockout. I think he'd be careful. He would,
like
because
Bivol tried to do.
Well, I think he'd be, Roy was very smart, and I don't think he cared to impress people. Like he told me, I remember one time he said, it's all in the feet. And I said, what do you mean? And he goes, and if you look back on his career, this is true in his prime. The guys who went the distance with him had good feet. They had good stance, right? The guys that were aggressive and, didn't have good balance and stuff, he took those guys out. He sucked them in and he got rid of them. But, Hopkins and different guys like that, Tony, the guys that had good balance and good feet were able to go the distance. And, Artur would be that type of guy because Arthur's always in a position to punch. You never see Artur falling off balance and he's helpless. So Roy, if Roy didn't see that level of carelessness, he wouldn't explode. And that's why if you look at the guys he knocked out, they were the guys who didn't have that balance and didn't have that wherewithal. You know what I'm saying? And if you look at his career, you can see that.
You're right. How did Arthur? I mean, I don't know if he told you anything else, but he's a man of very little words. I assume he talks to you more. But how did he feel about the fight? Did he feel like he could have done better? Like, what did he feel like?
Yeah, I think I gather that he he would have liked to have done be much more impressive and but he said Dimitri's very fast and very elusive and pretty much what we saw and it's like people are like like people say, oh, why didn't he go to the body more? And some people say all he had to do was go to the body more. I go, listen, man, do you know how hard it is to be in a boxing ring and hit a guy in the body who
Yeah.
doesn't want to be hit?
Yeah.
Trust me, it looks, and I get it. It looks easy. It really does. And I forget myself sometimes, and I go, "Come on, man, just get in there." Man, it's not. But I know it's not that easy. It's not that easy to track a guy down. And Dmitry was changing directions. He clearly didn't want to get trapped.
No, he was moving
He
in.
knew, and that's the thing. Like he says that Canelo hit harder, but yet he didn't have a problem letting Canelo let his hands go. Now he wasn't
Yeah.
doing that with Artur, so his actions do not, reflect his
Yeah.
words at
I
all. He said,
guarantee you, if he would have got the victory, he would have said Arthur's the hardest puncher. I really
yeah,
believe that.
right,
I
exactly.
really do. I really believe that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I do too. Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
so Bivol said after the fight, he goes, "Well, I could have thrown more punches. Like that's how I could have improved." What do you think? Because Arthur seemed to fight exactly how he fights. So, what could he do in the rematch? Assuming there is a rematch, what could he do to improve, in your opinion?
I think his jab. I think we've got to improve. Like his jab is great. Like when he's on his game, his jab is great. He hasn't fought a guy that fast and that much of a versatile mover in a while, if ever. So we've got to double and triple up on the jab. We've got to have a better jab. The jab that he's capable of. I think he abandoned it. Sometimes when you're pursuing a guy who moves a lot, you forget the jab because you just want to run him down and you want to tackle him practically. You know what I mean? And you forget to be patient with the jab. And I think that's something. I mean, that's definitely something I'm going to mention to him, and I'm going to in the next camp. I'm going to work on that 100 overtime. I'm going to work on that a lot for sure.
Yeah, and Bivol throwing more punches is easier said than done because I think most of the reason why he wasn't throwing was because he was retreating
Of
and
course.
tired. Yeah.
Listen, you don't throw a lot of punches against a guy who you're trying to get away from. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like that's like I say, I get it from him, but it's amusing as a fighter. It's amusing for him, like I say, to say that Canelo hit harder because you weren't trying to find out if Arthur hit hard. You
yeah.
didn't even want to find out. So it's
Yeah.
easy to like run away, move away, avoid it, and then go, yeah, he didn't hit hard. Well, what do you mean? Like, it's like a guy, you know, he's a football player and he's running away from the tackler. He runs away from Jack Tatum, and then he says Jack Tatum doesn't hit that hard. It's like, okay, you were going in the wrong direction to really find out.
Yeah, that was clearly, I feel like a bruised ego statement.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
for
silly.
sure. For sure.
So a lot of people though now are talking Canelo Beterbiev, which I think is fucking ridiculous, personally.
I and I've said it from the beginning. I don't. There's a reason. Look, boxing people behind it all, they're business people. They know where to go and what to say and who to gauge and who to dig in and all that, suck in. There's a reason he didn't fight Arthur when he went to 175. Obviously, he knows. I mean, they know, and they know. He's too small. Arthur is towering above this guy. He's 5'7". It would be a mismatch. There's no way. If Arthur had him on the ropes like Dmitry did, Arthur would sledgehammer him. And I don't think they will ever fight ever.
I don't think
And I
so
don't
either.
blame him. I'm not insulting him or making fun of him or anything.
Different weight classes, yeah.
Yeah, there's weight classes for a reason. This is a small man. I always remember two things, and they go together. Arthur fought as an amateur as a heavyweight,
Yeah.
201.
Now Arthur is,
And,
sorry to cut you off real quick. He's 5'11" or 6 feet.
I would say six
Okay.
feet.
Okay.
But he fought at 201 and was a world champion at 201 as an amateur. Canelo, if you look at the weigh-in pictures when he fought Triple G made him look small. And I remember thinking, man, Triple G is a lot bigger than Canelo. This is crazy. Well, Arthur is way bigger than Triple G. Arthur would make Canelo look like a child. There's a
Yeah.
reason they have not fought yet. And
Yeah, I
I
agree.
know what it is. I know what the reason is.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah, there's a reason he picked Bivol first. Yeah.
And Kovalev. Yeah, of course.
Kovalev. Well, Kovalev because he was older, right?
Yeah. And they had the weight clause, and
They did.
people forget.
Kovalev versus Beterbiev in his prime would have been nice. That would have been fun.
Yeah. You know what's funny? They Arthur had beaten him as an amateur. They knew each other, and I remember the guy saying Kovalev would. Buddy McGirt said it. He said Kovalev couldn't deal with the body punching of Arthur.
Ooh.
He
Neither could
said,
Usyk. Usyk got
yeah,
dropped, right?
exactly. And and he said, and because you see, Andre Ward got him with a body shot, hurt him with the body, and I guess somebody else did too, but they don't punch like Arthur to the body.
Right. Right.
I don't think Kovalev wanted to fight Arthur.
So is there a rematch? Was there a rematch clause of any kind?
I don't know, but I know they said it right after the fight at the press conference that that's
They're
the
doing it again.
direction that we're trying to go. Yeah, I
Okay.
would assume that's going to be the next fight.
And I'll let you go soon. After
Yeah.
this. What? So he's about to be 40, right? When's he turn 40?
I
Soon.
think he's got like another year. I think his birthday I think is at the end of the year. Like
Okay.
I think he's 38 now. He's gonna be 39.
Oh, I thought he was 39 already. Either
I think
way.
he's gonna be either way he's up there.
Okay. So does he ever talk about? Because I mean, I've heard him ask this, and I'm just asking you because obviously you're closer to him, and he might have. Has he ever talked about how much longer? I mean, he's
Never,
gonna go. Anything?
never.
And do you see any kind of? Because you're honest, have you seen any kind of a slowdown from his age?
I really don't think so. I think over the last two camps, he had the tooth issue, which he never said anything about, and he had the knee issue, which he never said anything about. So, I said, man, what's up with this? Not knowing these were the factors. Now that this camp, he's no problems with his teeth and no problem with his leg, and everything was back to normal, and he's looking good again. So I I think he's different. He's a guy who can fight in his advanced years just because he takes such good care of himself, and he eats very well, and he doesn't party, he doesn't drink, he doesn't hang out, anything like
What
that.
what is? And I'm assuming it's praying, but what is he doing when he's constantly like talking, like
Yeah.
mumbling to himself? He's
Yeah, he's
praying.
praying. Yeah, he's praying. Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
I
some
noticed that
gangster
in the
shit.
very beginning. He he's just, for a sec, I heard it. It's kind of funny. But the first time, you ever see on Seinfeld, the low talker?
I didn't
You know
see
what
that.
that is?
No,
You don't know it? Well,
nah.
Jerry was dating this girl, but she talks, but you can't hear her because she's like whispering, and everybody's like, What are you saying? What?" And so in the beginning, I was with Arthur, and he's next to me, and I see him moving his lips, and I'm like, what? I thought he was talking to me, but he was just talking low, and then I find out, no, somebody was like, "No, man, he's praying. He's praying constantly. Like this
Yeah, he
dude's
does.
constantly, yeah." And it's funny, like I respect it because we'll be in the ring before the fight, and you see him, and he's just like it's a steady stream. Just his lips are moving, his lips are moving, his lips are moving. He's constantly praying.
It
Yeah. And
seems like that's the way
matter of
he.
fact, he went to the mosque after the fight.
Oh, it seems like that's the way he deals with his stress. He just prays.
I
That's what
would
it
say
seemed like.
so. Yeah.
Yeah, like
I'll tell you
during.
a funny thing. I'll tell you a
Mhm.
cool thing, right? When I first started training with him back in 2016, and we're at this gym one day, and we're in the ring, elevated ring, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he just leaves the ring. I'm holding the pads for him. He just leaves the ring. And I'm like, man, what's up with this dude? Like, what's he doing? And I said to someone, like, hey, man, he just left. And they're like, and they looked at the clock and they saw it's like 3 o'clock. He's praying. They said, don't worry, he'll be back. He'll be back in like 2 minutes. And 2 minutes later, he comes back, and we start hitting the mitts again. And he didn't say anything, and that was it. So he was so devoted that he couldn't let the time go.
I mean, he could have warned you. Like, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go
Yeah,
pray.
but I guess maybe he was late. He was like, he noticed the clock, and he just went, and that was it.
Okay. Did you happen to see the whole drama with Bivol's wife and how she was throwing up? Have you heard about any of this?
That lady, man.
Oh, you do know
Listen,
about it. Okay.
you know what's that saying? Like I think it's in the Bible
Oh,
about the
oh,
woman scorned or something.
something like yeah.
Man,
It's
they're talking
hell
about her.
haveth no fury as a woman scorned. There it is.
They're talking about her. It's like that saying. It was in the book or whatever. They should have her picture. She is a mean, evil little lady,
Great.
man.
But if it's true what she's saying, because apparently she said Bivol beats her ass and all that, maybe she has a
Yeah. But she's at the fight. She was cheering for Arthur, and like she's on video cheering for him during the
I
fight,
know.
and he
What
won. That's like she's
did Art
vindictive. Like I get it. Look, I get it. If your husband's a bad guy, and maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But if you think he is, and you want to stick it to him, but like she's really taking that a rough route there.
wild? Did Beterbiev have any reactions to that? Did he
No,
care to
he never
believe?
said he wouldn't exploit that type of thing. Like he's like an American fighter, 100% is gonna like at the press conference. He's gonna be like, "Yeah, I saw your wife the other day. We were
Yeah,
hanging
yeah, yeah,
out.
yeah.
She says she can't stand you, and she likes the way I treat her better. Maybe we'll hook up. Who knows? That's what America.
Yeah.
You remember
He doesn't do that shit.
Paulie and Broner, and
Yep.
all these guys, But Arthur would never do that. He would never do that. Never.
Yeah, no, totally. What? Because Arthur, and this brings me to this next question. Arthur seems very classy, but there was a moment where he seemed, and I'm curious if this was real or playful, where he seemed to get agitated with Eddie Hearn. Was that real, or was he just playing around?
You know what? It's hard to tell with Arthur, right? Um, he seemed to me, this is my take on it. He seemed to want to present an image of like it was fun for the audience, but I think he meant it.
It
I think
seemed
I
like
think
it.
I think he meant it. I think he didn't want to make it too uncomfortable, but he was kind of like letting Eddie know just between them, like, hey man, like I'm a little annoyed over here, cause and I get it, cause that dude, man, he's annoying, like he
Well,
really is.
what was Hearn doing to annoy Arthur?
He was saying that Arthur was disrespectful because at the press conference he didn't speak a lot, and I'm like, listen, man, that's not him. Like he's not a trash talker. You're not gonna get a lot. Eddie was being like over dramatic. He's like, he's getting paid a lot of money and he's got to advertise this. And, he just gives these 1-word answers. And it's like, man, relax. Like, that's him. That's the answers you're getting. Anything else would be fake. And Arthur's, if anything, there's one thing he's not fake. He's not gonna,
Yeah,
he's not gonna trash talk. He's not gonna talk crazy. He's not gonna threaten people. That's not him. If that's what you want, you got to go get somebody else. But so I think Arthur, knowing him, I would say he tried to make it seem funny, but I think he meant it. And I get it because that dude's kind of annoying, man. Like he sat right behind me at the fight,
uh-huh.
and he's just talking, like yelling up, and half the stuff I'm like, this dude's annoying. Like it doesn't even make any sense.
Like what?
He's like
Like
just I mean, honestly, right now I forget exactly, but just saying commentary like up to the ring, and I think he's just trying to like get in Arthur's head, and that type of thing. Just saying nonsense.
you think
He's
he
kind
was
of like the
trying?
type. He's kind of like the guy in high school that constantly says stuff, and then when you look at him, he kind of smiles in the corner of his mouth, like to let you know he's only joking, and relax, don't get mad at me, I'm just joking,
Right,
but he
right,
he tries to annoy you, and he's successful at it, I think.
right. Wait, were you in the ring or no during the fight?
I was in the corner. I didn't like Mark was in the ring between rounds, but I
Okay,
was in the corner. So Eddie
yeah,
was literally right by Eddie and Buster Rhymes. They were sitting right behind me.
that's cool. So was Buster Rhymes saying anything?
No, no, he was cool. He wasn't saying anything. He's a big dude though. I'll tell you that
He's
much.
like 6'3".
He's a lot bigger than I thought he was. Yeah, he's a big
Yeah,
guy.
yeah, yeah. No, I've been around him before. He's a big dude. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So I guess a rematch is what's coming, right?
Yeah, I would say it's, it's a fight that has, it begs for a rematch.
Yeah.
Similar, like Hagler and Leonard never fought again against each other, and this is the type of fight, that we're here, like we're here, everybody's here, we're active. Let's do it again. It would be horrible if they didn't fight again.
Yeah, and hopefully, hopefully he can get a stoppage in the rematch.
Yeah, I hope so.
Hopefully. Do you have any other fighters you're working with that are fighting anytime soon?
Yeah, middleweight Stephen Butler, out of Montreal. He fought Janabek for the title, and he's fighting in the first week in November at the Montreal Casino. So we're training for that right now.
Okay, cool. Well, hey man,
Yeah.
I appreciate you talking to me. I don't know if I did tell you, right? I moved to Norwalk, so I forget where you
Yeah,
are.
that's right. Yeah, you did tell me. Yeah, so you're close. Yeah, that's cool.
You're in what? You're not in Hartford, right? Or you are?
Right in Windsor, right next to Harvard.
So that's like, what's that? An hour from here, right? Something
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
an hour. Yeah, it's
An
1
hour.
hour.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
All right, man.
That's
Well, look,
cool.
again, man, I appreciate it. Great fight. It was, great job. And I look forward to seeing it again, man. It's gonna be dope.
Yeah, me too. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right, man. Take care. Peace.
All right.